Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video I'll tell you what I think is good and bad in the Soulforge this week, what's worth crafting and what you should avoid. Anyway, how do you sell a deaf man a chicken? Do you want to buy a chicken? That's how. Anyway, Satori Gladius. Say a good look at this, I really like the sound of this troop. Create 8 skulls and 8 red dragon gems. Now in a team that creates a lot of skulls and a lot of red, that is going to be really, really good. That is going to do damage, that's going to create an absolute ton of mana. I like the sound of this, I'm really looking forward to trying this out in a team that creates skulls and uses a lot of red. And I'm going to give this a very, very good 8 out of 10. I absolutely think this is going to be a really good troop all round. Inflicts bleed when doing skull damage, becomes enraged when an enemy dies, and reduces damage from skulls by 30%. So pretty usable troop, and yeah, really high potential in that. I like that a lot. As ever, if you can and you have the spare glory, always take this up to Mythic level if you can. Gives you another troop you can get to level 20, which is going to aid your power level kingdoms in the long run. Also, you can also grab Spoils of War with any excess glory. 10 maximum of these, always good. Extra event keys are always a good thing. Bit more gold, bit more souls, and a load more useless treasure maps, which hardly anybody wants anymore. Please give us something to do with those excess treasure maps, devs. Anyway, onto the Soulforge itself. Let's take a look at the weapons first. Alright, we have Withering Touch. Steals magic-based life from the first enemy and drains all mana from them. So, a pretty useful weapon. Life is good. That is effectively a true damage weapon by stealing life, because it is bypassing the armor of the enemy. And adding whatever life you steal to your own. And it drains all mana, so you can time this at a good time as well when they're near close to getting ready to cast, and just rob them of all their mana. So, pretty useful in certain situations. Doomed Tome. Magic-based scatter damage, plus 4 per tempering level, create a mix of 6 blue gems and skulls for every blue enemy. Give 3 magic to all allies, and if the enemy has a doom, give 5 more. So these weapons are kind of okay, but the trouble is with a weapon like this, you're going to use it most on your Guild Wars defense. Because most times you're going to come across a team using all blue is on the blue day of Guild Wars. And on the defense, you're going to be able to pick this in your defense, knowing that if the enemy's team is set up properly, they're going to be using all blue allies on blue day on Guild Wars. So good for that, but quite expensive otherwise, and can be quite easily shut down by using a troop which entangles. So yeah, good but bad at the same time. Doomed Tome. Dead Gauntlet. Deals magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by undead allies, then creates a mix of 6 blue and purple gems for each undead ally. So uses red and brown, but creates blue and purple. So providing you have other allies on your team that use blue and purple, this can generate a lot of mana for them. Doomed Helm. Gives, I don't like the ones that give life. I know there is reasons when they're going to be good, but in all, I much prefer the doomed weapons that do damage. It's like you win games by doing damage. Yes, the life makes you more survivable and can work in certain teams where it boosts the damage that a certain troop might do based on their life, or the life of the team combined. But all in all, I do prefer the doomed weapons that do actual damage to the opposition team. But anyway, this gives life to all allies, plus 2 per tempering level, and then give 5 mana to all other allies. And if the enemy has a doom, give 4 more mana. Give 2 magic to all allies for each red enemy. So another sort of Guild Wars based doomed weapon here. So situational, but it can be decent in the certain situations. Scythe of Kitar. Removes all purple gems with no effect. So obviously best to use this if your team does not use purple on any of your allies. Then deal magic based damage to an enemy boosted by the amount of gems removed. And if the enemy is from Qatar or the battle is in Qatar, deal double damage. So this is kind of like an anti-Qatar weapon, because most of the troops that you're going to face in Qatar are going to use purple. So this works against them by also removing the colour they like the most. So not particularly great amount of weapons there this week that are any good. Is there anything else that's different? Bone Shield's not here all the time. Deals damage to an enemy boosted by guitar allies, then create a mix of 6 purple and brown for each guitar ally. So similar to the other weapon, uses red and blue, creates purple and brown. So just make sure your other allies are from guitar and use those colours, and you can get some really good fast mana for them with that and do a bit of damage at the same time. All the other weapons are here all the time, so I'm not going to go over those again. Oh, Scarab Blade is not here all the time though. Let's take a look at that. I like these weapons. Explode, magic +1 purple gems, grant a random status effect to all undead allies, then summon a random troop. So really good for generating mana, because when you explode a gem, every purple gem is going to explode and take out other colours, charging up your team. You get a random status effect to all undead, so in an all undead team this is going to be really beneficial like that, and also has a summon at the same time. So that's probably my favourite weapon here today. I do like that. I do like the explodey summony weapons. And oh, you have one at the bottom, Tomb Lord's Crook, similar to the other weapon. Explodes 39, in my case purple gems, magic +1. Grant a random status effect to all guitar allies, then summon a guitar troop. So very similar to the other weapon just looked at. Very, very good in the right situation. And what one of these you would use is depending upon sometimes is upgrades. Like this says like Vital, Damned, Lightning, Bone. You would often look at a weapon's upgrades before deciding which one out of these two, for example, is the best to use in a certain situation. The upgrades, if you got it upgraded, using your legendary ingots can really make a difference. Now let's look at the mythics. First up is the Archdeva. Choose an ally, give them, looks like magic ×2 +1 attack, life and armor, and fill their mana. Can only be cast once. So a one cast wonder, but he's still fairly handy after that because he barriers and blesses a random ally when matching 4 or more gems as well, which is a really good third trait. Very useful that indeed. Next up is Aquaticus. Now, if you're fed up with getting just obliterated by those really annoying King Gobtruffle teams, those Queen Beatrix teams, the ones that do damage and then they get an extra turn and just repeat until you are dead, then get Aquaticus. That third trait, Tsunami, Submerge all allies when matching 4 or more gems, is the perfect defense against those kind of teams that do damage to all and then repeat until you die. It happens a lot, but get Aquaticus. When you're submerged, you cannot be hit by those kind of troops. So a really good defense against that. Just get a 4 match and you are safe. As well as that, the spell is pretty decent too. Deals magic-based light splash damage to 3 random enemies, explode half the blue gems on the board. And she uses blue herself, so she can self-charge as well, which is very, very useful. Do like Aquaticus. The Possessed King. Now a kind of strange troop this one, because the spell can actually work against you. Does damage to all enemies, but it can transform a random enemy into a daemon at the same time, which will sometimes be more powerful than the thing that was there in the first place, which is not really the idea. But the main reason you're going to get him is actually not for the spell at all. You're going to get him for that awesome third trait. It's been good for a few years now, and it's still good now. Explodes 2 random gems on 4 or 5 gem matches. So the best way to use this guy is quite often in a team where the main team works on your first, say, 3 troops. So you got the first, second and third allies. That is the way the team works mainly. And you've got like a 4th slot at the bottom, which is kind of spare. You can pop a troop like this into there and benefit from all that extra mana gen on every single 4 or 5 gem match. Very good indeed. And Urieli deals true damage to all enemies based on your magic, boosted by Naga and undead allies, and has a summon at the same time of a Bone Naga. But one of the best reasons about Urieli is she pairs fantastically well with Scorpius. Due to that third trait, poison all enemies on 4 or 5 gem matches. So get a 4 match, everyone is poisoned. If you have Scorpius, he does damage which becomes lethal on any poisoned enemy. So get a 4 match. This Scorpius, really powerful, just kills those enemies absolutely outright. Very, very good indeed. Now let's take a quick look at the legendaries. High Priestess Chazka. Deals magic +1 damage to all enemies, boosted by a yellow, and bless all yellow allies. So best in an all yellow team, or other teams that maybe Strix as well, because it works really well in the Strix team. I've used her before. She's very good. Do like her a lot. Going to have a lot of yellow on the board anyway, because she conjures a light storm when her turn begins, which is yellow, and she's just a good choice all around for yellow teams, because quite often you'll want a yellow storm, which is a light storm, and normally you're forced to go into Stormcaller for that. But with this, you don't actually need to, because you can have her High Priestess Chazka on your team, and she'll conjure a light storm when her turn begins. Not at the start of battle, which is a one-off thing. This is when her turn begins, so literally every single round. Very good indeed on yellow-based teams. Starflower. I do love this troop. Really underrated to me. Deals damage to all enemies, boosted by ally and enemy Fae, and has a summon as well, and a 20% chance to transform a random enemy to a pixie, which is one of the most rubbishiest troops in the game. As well as that, she has a really good third trait, 50% chance to fairy fire a random enemy at the start of my turn. So when that happens and she casts a spell, or anybody else that does damage, they can receive 50% extra incoming damage from that, which is pretty decent. Killing. Really good. Converts purple to red, brown to skulls, and blesses 2 random allies. Give all allies 1 magic on 4 or 5 gem matches. So on a team, particularly if you don't use purple or brown, for example, you're going to transform those purple to red, brown to skulls. That can really work in your favour. Make sure you're getting 4 matches from one of those things first, and you'll continue your turn if you're not frozen. And that can be indeed a really, really good troop. Orion. Not really much of a fan of these troops that do about amount of damage from one thing to the other, with some exceptions like Tina 9000. It does gain Hunter's Mark at the same time and gain 5 magic, but yeah, I don't think that's actually that great to me. There are situations where it will be good. It's just, yeah, not one of my favourites. 75% chance to ignore armour with skull damage though is not bad, but all round, not the best. I do prefer these other ones which are here. So who gets my super duper hyper coveted, not, but let's do it anyway for a bit of fun, Mythic of the Week? Possessed King, really good, but it's really just for that third trait. Uri, really, really good when it comes to pairing with Scorpius. But just because of that awesome defense against the Gobtruffle teams and the Queen Beatrix teams, things like that, by simply getting a 4 match, makes you safe from them, and it's a good spell as well, I am going to give it to Aquaticus. Other people may have given it to Uri for the Scorpius thing, or even the Possessed King for that third trait, but I'm going to go with Aquaticus this time. And there it is. There's my video on what's good and bad in the Soulforge this week. A couple of really good mythics, certainly worth crafting if you have the diamonds. But there you go. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.